We're inside the toolbox, cracking a smile on your radio dial. It isn't just a station, it's a destination. And I'll get you from A to B as I play the A's and tease the B's. But don't forget the journey. We got music from that band coming up. Traffic on the 10s, but this set begins with light rock and less talk. Right down the line and all around the clock. From town to town, from city to city. She's got no soul, but she sure is pretty. So crank it up and settle down. Open your heart and take a look around. There's lots of good to be found right here inside the toolbox.
You know I need your love. You got that hold over me. Long as I got your love, you know that I'll never leave. When I wanted you to share my life, I had no doubt in my mind. And it's been you, woman, right down the line.
From Carolla One Studios in Glendale, California, this is the Adam Carolla Show. Adam's guest today, Dan Dunn. With Gina Grad on news, Bald Brian on sound effects, and Mike Lynch drops by to talk about Adam's latest book, I'm Your Emotional Support Animal. And now, best-selling author, depending on which newspaper you read, Adam Carolla.
Yeah, get it on. Got to get it on. No choice but to get on mandate. Get it on. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing. We're going to bring Dan and the gang in a couple of few. First, we're going to speak to my co-author, Mike Lynch from, where are you, Lynch?
I'm in Westford, Massachusetts.
And thanks for joining us.
I'm sad I missed the Dan Dunn. Nobody sent me any liquor.
No. So we'll get to Dan. We'll get to all that. We'll have a little one-on-one at the top. And I was... So, you know, I'm always talking about this sort of ever-changing woke world. And by the way, nice job, Dawson, at the top. That was fantastic. Super smooth. Hit it out of the ballpark.
Thank you.
And I was, you know, I think we're all sort of caught in between wanting to make the New York Times bestseller list, wanting to be accepted into Sundance, wanting to be invited to all the hot Hollywood parties. And then speak our mind and leave this earth with our dignity. So I know you very much wanted to make the New York Times bestseller list because why wouldn't you? That'd be four times, course. Right?
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I really wanted it for the frame. I wanted to be able to frame it. I don't have any of the previous book covers or New York Times bestseller lists framed, so I was kind of hoping to get them all in one. So disappointed.
And we sold enough units to make it, but by good margin. I think there were some on there. I don't have the rundown of all the books, but
you should have it.
Oh, I should have it. Thank you. It's an interesting. It's interesting the way they do it, and one of the things. Oh yeah, so right, we got how to be an anti-racist. Countdown to 1945, Untamed, I'm Still Here, Splendid and the Vile, Becoming. A lot of stuff on race and what me and white supremacy and all that. The art of her deal, which is Melania Trump's, I guess, some about her. Anyway, it's all there. We're not there. Now, we sold more books than maybe 5 or 6 of the people that are on the list, but we're not on the list. For
yes. The week that this captures, we sold 11,292, whereas me and white supremacy, for example, sold 10,994. So
right. So what's your head on this stuff? I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but I do feel like I get which way the wind is blowing out there.
Yeah, I think that, it's, if you're going to call something a bestseller list, it should include the things that sold the best. Now, I think America right now is clamoring for a conversation about 2 white guys complaining about their rankings on the New York Times bestseller list. I think that's what America's yearning for. That's the honest dialogue that needs to happen right now is between the two of us. But call it a editor's choice list then. Just don't call it a bestseller list.
Yeah. Now, we made the bestseller on Wall Street Journal and maybe...
We were 10 on Wall Street Journal.
And what's... I think Brian forwarded us a couple other lists we had made
that
onto.
was... I believe that's the AP. I think that was a couple of different newspapers all pulling from the AP, and we were number 7 on that one.
And Publishers Weekly we made it onto. See, those just tally up the number of books sold and then make a list. Right. All right. So we're 7 on Publishers Weekly. Anyway, it's glad to know. I mean, I'm guessing 5 years ago or 7 years ago, we would have been on that list, a New York Times bestseller list. That's probably a safe statement.
I would imagine so.
But not anymore. All right. Well, now, so here's the deal, everybody. Mike's in business for himself, and I'm in business for myself for this very reason. I don't know in your business or in my business. I mean, your former business was working for the state, right?
Sort of. It was. I was working for a corporation, but it was mostly state-funded insurance people. So
I don't know. I don't know how comfortable you could be doing that, or how comfortable I could be working for NBC or I don't know, CNN or something, or ESPN. Like I don't know the parent company anymore. It seems like folks who have an opinion and speak freely and sometimes tweet freely. I don't know if people last in that environment anymore. I mean, it's a weird, it's an interesting conversation. Like, everyone does that thing where they go, every black family has a conversation with their kids about the cops. And I go, okay, granted, but I think every white family's going to have a discussion with their kids about what they're tweeting or what they're saying at work, or don't show up talking about this or talking about that. Like, you're going to get canceled.
yeah, I think the current moment has pushed everything to the margins, and there's not a lot of room for conversation or nuance. I don't know if you caught Bill Maher this week. I thought his ending rap was perfect, as far as you're not helping right. And this idea of this is a difficult thing to talk about, race in America today. And I think that people are scared to do it sometimes. Not you, though.
No, not me. And that's why you have to get I'm your emotional support animal. It is sadly, I looked on Amazon and it said ships July 18th. Can that be right? What is taking so goddamn long to replenish those books? That's what it said on Amazon last time I checked. At least it had a date. You can get the audiobook and you can get the Kindle, but the hardback on Amazon says July 18th.
Yeah, it says in stock on July 18th, 2020.
Okay. So yeah, the publisher, we went to a second printing, and we're sending another 10,000 or so to the Amazon warehouse. So apparently that's when it's getting there. So if you order it now, it'll turn right around, and maybe the week of July 18th, we could hit the New York Times bestseller list by selling 10,000 in one day if you go and order it now, so that it sends to you when it gets delivered.
Well, we'll work on that, and thank you guys. And thanks for all the nice reviews, except for the 3 or 4 that talk about my potty mouth. Mike, I think, has a email that our publisher promised to read it to me. I haven't heard it yet.
Give me 1 second. I'm going to find it here. Where did it go?
It's kind of funny, but the only bad reviews I've seen on Amazon is about foul language, which means we're both getting old. But you found
I'll
a
keep
review.
her.
Yeah.
This was sent directly to the general mailbox at Post Hill Publisher. This is someone named Linda. I'll keep her last name out of it. But quote, I am writing you today to let you know how disappointed I am in your new Carolla book, I'm Your Emotional Support Animal. I bought it hoping for some humor in this now humorless society, and to support Post Hill Press. I am truly disgusted by the filthy language in this book. Just a few pages into the book, the profanity started. There should be a disclaimer for those of us who are offended by this offensive language. I returned the book to Amazon and we'll get my money back. So somebody can buy another one if you want to get hers.
Yeah.
I will never buy another of your books, as I find I can't trust them. I just don't know. I just don't know why, when we are such an educated society, we are now resorting to the most vile of language.
But we're both jealous of this person, right? Who A, took the time to craft this letter, B, licked a stamp in an envelope and like dropped it in snail mail, and can never love again when it comes to like a book. Like if somebody wrote McCain's memoirs and it ended up on Post Hill, she wouldn't buy it. Yeah, because she can't trust.
I want to say to Linda from the bottom of my heart, I apologize, and I feel like a piece of shit about it.
I find it when I hear these kind of complaints in life, I look at them almost like hearing about a pickpocket or something. It's like it's quaint, like in a world where people are coming up and slugging Hasidic Jews in the back of the head when they're walking down the sidewalk. A pickpocket sounds quaint, a letter saying, good day, I'm going to return this book. You've disappointed me. It's quaint in today's day and age of toppling monuments and people punching each other in the streets, right?
Yeah, before she hit send, she fanned herself and said she was getting the vapors.
Did she even hit send, or did she physically go to the mailbox?
No, this was an email. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, all right. So she's
probably typed by her grandchild.
She's under 80. All right. I want to talk to Mike. I'm always interested in Mike's take on the state of the world, because Mike's very tuned in. Mike's a very good therapist, and Mike understands human beings very well. And I find myself talking to Mike and Dr. Drew about what's going on in the world. And I was talking to Drew today for a bit, and I stumbled upon a couple ideas I want to kind of bounce off you, which is I've always been worried about instant gratification. I've always been really worried about how much that scrambles young people, kids, and I've always kind of studied my kids, and there's a couple little examples like I've always studied, and I've watched Natalia a few times, and I had a couple of moments where, I don't know, like any good detective, I like stopped in my tracks and went, this is happening. Why is this happening? Or what's going on? Like it meant something to me. It stuck with me. And the first was, her sixth Christmas or fifth Christmas, when her mom just bought her every single thing she wanted. She made a list to Santa, had 181 things on it. She got 182 things, and she was miserable, almost despondent. Like it was literally, it was Christmas morning in the living room of a huge house with a huge Christmas tree and Bing Crosby playing, and, the smell of figgy pudding coming from the kitchen. And I literally witnessed her despondent and miserable for that entire day. And it's because she got every single thing she asked for. And she had no relationship with any individual gift. She started getting a point where she was like tearing open one gift, looking at it like through the cellophane and sort of throwing it aside and going for the next package that had her name on it. And I just looked at it and I was like, and she was perturbed. You can tell with kids, you can tell when adults are not in a good way, but they played a little closer to the vest, but they articulated a little better. She was walking around looking angry, like when Beavis would turn into Cornholio or something and start vibrating, like she was a Cornholio, like she was vibrating violently, right? And I just kept looking at her going, I don't get it. It's Christmas. You got everything you want, and she was like, she couldn't express herself, but she was in a bad way. And I realized, oh, that's what happens when you give everyone everything at once. That's how it works. And I was talking to Drew today, and I said, the devil makes work for idle hands. It's one of the truest words ever spoken. And I thought, a lot of idle hands, like a lot of immediate gratification. Like for us, I don't want to sound like old dude broken record, but going to McDonald's was a big deal. If we won the football game and Coach Gallagher was going to take us to McDonald's, that was a cause for celebration. Obviously, my daughter hits her phone. Somebody brings her McDonald's. It brings her nothing. There's no joy in it. There's no anything. It's just I want McDonald's or I want Shake Shack, and it just shows up. And I realize the more of the instant gratification, the less the foreplay, the more the, it's going to be Christmas in August. The more that, now we want it really badly as kids. Like they want it, but it's a killer. And I think there's a lot of that going around because it's all instant gratification. I can watch any movie when it comes out on your phone or any food or any, we used to spend long periods of time waiting for stuff to come around, things to show up. How big a deal was it for you growing up if something showed up in the mail for you?
The flashback I just had was, and this speaks to a little Tales from the Cheap as well, but putting a He-Man on layaway, right? And waiting weeks to go back to, I think it was Zayre's to get that He-Man because it was on layaway.
Right.
We did have to wait for things. This is why, Willy Wonka, not only a very good movie, but it's a fable. We have, I think we even say this in the book, we have it's just a bunch of grown-up Veruca Salts who want an Oompa Loompa now, right?
Right.
And it's that gratification, that get everything you want instantly, it does ruin people. I mean, if you want to get heavy about it, I think about the idea around, purpose and meaningfulness as being one of the most important things in life, having a sense of purpose and meaning, being able to make sense of the world in your own way. And when we need to be able to put things in front of us, we need to feel like we're slowly achieving them. That gives us that meaning, because the world is chaos. But if we can feel like we're controlling it in some way by having projects and having patience and having delayed gratification, that eases some of that, feeling around meaninglessness.
Yeah. So I'm looking around at all the really pissed off 26-year-olds who don't have real problems, not as we would have formerly defined problems in the United States or any other country, more agitated and more angry. And I realize, I think it's a combination of delayed gratification and the lack thereof. And also it's kind of funny because it's like, what do we want? Change. When do we want it? Now. There's no layaway for justice or change. It's all no He-Man-esque layaway. It's like, we want it now. We want everything now. We're angry now. It's got to happen now. And by the way, I don't know how you take, racial injustice and change it now. That feels like that's a couple of decades and a slow burn,
Sure. I understand that as a negotiating position, but I don't think it's realistic.
Right. So I thought in the current climate, the delayed gratification and how that's out the window, the instant gratification with the phones and the food and just everything that's flying your way. And then the devil making work for idle hands, like people not really having enough on their plate. Like people used to have to get up at 6 a.m. and, take mass transit to get, for an hour to get into town, to go into a factory, like to be on your feet the whole day. It's like all this like working from home, and I kind of did it done on my phone and all that kind of stuff. It sounds like progress, but those people got a little too much time. Like when you have a job where, you have a job where you have to speak to 6 patients in a day, or I have a job where I have to go to the airport, get on an airplane, go to Arizona, do 2 shows that night. Like there's not a lot of time to like sit and sort of get angry at the world. It's a little bit of a hit the ground running. And obviously if you work at a factory, or you manufacture, or you work on a street crew and you're doing asphalt work or whatever that is, like a roofer, like whatever, like those people always seemed a little bit more grounded or centered or happy to me because they don't have the idle hands. Like they're not just kind of chilling. It's a lot. I feel like there's a lot more downtime for people now.
we're only like a century or so away from every day was about survival, right? I mean, we're not that far off from that time period where the majority of your energy was devoted to making sure you didn't die that day. And with that out of the way, I think that, you know, you have energy, it can go towards good things, you know, inventing or starting a business or something like that, or it can go to shitty things like, you know, hate tweets.
Yeah, but or you can spend some of that energy inventing invisible threats to you that used to be real threats.
Right.
Think about the terms and the phraseology of people now. Like, you know, I felt attacked, and this is a hate crime, and hate, attack, you know, in danger. A lot of people not feeling safe when it's totally safe. You know, when did we start graphing on this? I don't feel safe at the Pottery Barn in Costa Mesa because of the
Trader
symbol
Joe's
on the side of the thing. Like, when did safety come factoring in places that had air conditioning and roofs?
How long, by the way, I just said Trader Joe's. It made me think, how long before that has to go away because he was a colonialist?
Oh, Trader Joe's,
you know?
Stacy has a question up here. It's going to remind us of something. 43, Florida, Stacy. She's going to ask about the Aunt Jemima and the Mrs. Butterworth or something.
Sorry, it's line 2. It's my bad.
Line 2.
I pasted that wrong.
That's in the book somewhere. So I don't have it in front of me, but maybe we can find it. Stacy, 43.
Hey, Adam. Hey, Mike.
Hi, Guy.
Hey. So I got the audiobook. It was amazing. It was great. I loved it. And you called all of this stuff, like in the book already, you mentioned that they're going to take away Aunt Jemima, and I think you even said Uncle Ben's.
Yeah, I guess we'll find it. I should have told MaxPad to look for it beforehand. I screwed that up, but we'll find. Dawson will find it.
It's in the hashtag heroes chapter around we're talking about the Redskins mascot, and the idea of taking away mascots really does nothing.
Yeah, it's nice to be a little ahead of the curve with stuff. I also was thinking, we'll let Dawson find that. Hey, Stacy, thanks for listening to it.
So listen, what I'm wondering is, since you're ahead of the curve, I'm wondering about the silent majority. You know, like people talk about, like everything that you're talking about, you're speaking to people, and like everybody's out here and we're here and we're working, you know, like we own an AC business. I'm on Twitter, but I have to have some fake handle so my business doesn't get destroyed. But, you know, like, you know, we're out here, and what about the silent? Are we the silent majority anymore? Are we here? I don't even know anymore.
Well, there more. Yes, there's a lot.
Adam has never been part of a silent anything.
Yeah, there's a lot of normal people out there, but just call it normal. And there's more than you would know. They're not really represented in Hollywood or television or the arts, or they're not really representative. So it's like, it's kind of funny. I got something to write down for the next book, but you know, whenever you hear about a young black actress or a young Indian female comedian, she's like, I didn't grow up with people who looked like me on TV, and so I didn't know I could do this, or they were out there, or I could find my voice. A lot of that sort of, I didn't know there were, you know, you find the chubby chick and she goes, I didn't see any fat girls on TV, or I didn't see any lesbians or you know, Eastern Indians, or whatever that thing is. And then there's this sort of thing we have all the time where it's like, you need examples of yourself to see on TV for some reason. But it's kind of that way with sane people now. Like even people, normal people, you know, God-fearing, family-oriented, you know, sort of patriotic people. Like, where are these people on TV? You turn on HBO, you don't fucking see one normal person on that station anymore. I don't mean normal as defined by your skin color. I mean normal as in what we would consider like a traditional American value.
Well, the pendulum is swinging because it was the other way for so long.
Right. And so
The reason why
yes.
I saw you guys were taking calls tonight is because I was just reading an article that Taylor Swift has said that she was hurt by the census and that there were only two genders. And I hate to use, well, I don't hate to, but I'm stealing from you, Adam, saying, is this stupid or liar? I mean, like, at this point, like, what is this? What is this signaling?
I'll tell you what's going on. If you're running for president, then you have to campaign for 2 years and you have to say a whole bunch of shit that you think other people want to hear, one side or the other, and regurgitate it back to them. If you're Taylor Swift, the campaign never ends, right? So it's a constant. It's a decades-long campaign where you're sort of vying for popularity because it's such a fickle business, and it's here today and gone tomorrow. And there's so many examples of people that were huge sellers that aren't anymore and whatever. So it's like you're sort of, Trump, Biden, Nancy Pelosi, she's spitting shit out of her ass she never even thought about 10 minutes ago. She's saying it now. You know what I mean? She's 80 years old. She never thought about that stuff when she was 73. She disagreed with it. But either way, she's saying everything because it's a constant campaign. It's like a constant campaign. So I don't look at Taylor Swift any different than Biden or Trump. It's like it's a constant, they're constantly touring. They're on a train, a whistle-stop tour, and they never stop. So that's why that person who never thought about that before thinks that way now, even though she doesn't think that way.
I think it was Biden said he evolved on it, or it was Obama said he evolved on it. And it's like, did you, or did it just become politically expedient? And, Taylor Swift's audience is, my kid's age. Of course, that's the way the wind is blowing, and that's who she has. That's what she's going to say.
I always look forward. Thank you, Patriot. I always look forward to how much evolving am I going to do between 72 and 80 and a half? You know what I mean? I'm devolving now. How much more evolving am I going to do? And by the way, there will be a chasm between you and all the woke people in Hollywood. You don't have to move. You just stay where you are and watch them all evolve away from you.
Yeah, the lines will change.
Josiah, is it Josiah? Do we have that clip, Max Spada, or we'll find it?
I've located it. I'm just cutting it right now.
I'll let you do that. Josiah?
Hey,
38, New York City?
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Good. I'm really wondering, especially with Mike there, the impact on kids. I'm the oldest of 5, and I don't have any kids, but I have a lot of nieces and nephews, at least 7.
Mm-hmm.
And they range from, age 11 down to newborns. And what do you think is really going to happen when so much strange things happen to these, I didn't have to deal with that when I was 11.
Yeah, I get it. I was doing an interview on a radio show today, and they're like, what do you tell your kids about X, Y, and Z? And I'm like, I don't tell them shit. You get one shot at 14. You know what I mean? Let them enjoy it. When I was 12, my mom was telling me the ozone was depleted and we're going to be out of fossil fuels are going to be gone and we're going to be living underground. By the way, back then, I think there was going to be an ice age, before we're now the seas are going to rise. And there's plenty of time to get freaked out and bummed out. At this point, let them fucking be kids, or let them be young adults, or let them be. If they have questions, I'll answer them. But let them find for themselves. I hate this thing where it's like we have to sit down with our kids. We have to have a real serious conversation with them about race or about sexual abuse or elder abuse or why or genocide. And by the way, when does it stop? Do I just get into Rwanda and everywhere else? Do we go back to the killing fields? Where does it end? Do we just keep it to the Glendale Burbank area, or do I expand it in the entire United States? And then do we get into Canada and Mexico? Do I get into the cartels in China? Where does it end? Sorry.
Well, I think kids are a lot more malleable and adaptable than we think, and I think that they'll adjust to this, just fine as we did to whatever craziness was happening when we were younger. And
but I want to say I was bummed out. My childhood was impacted negatively by my mom explaining how bad the future was going to be, because it's like, hey, you old bitch, you'll be dead, but I'll be 37 and miserable.
Well, that was going to be my point, is if you want to know what the future holds for your kid, if you're sitting them down to have these conversations, just tune into this show.
That's right. That's what the future holds. All right. Should we play the clip? We had the clip from the audiobook that I laid down in here, 3 months ago with Dawson. We'll play it. Used to be the church folk who cared about this stuff. The uptight religious right folks who started petitions to have satanic costumes removed. The Tipper Gores of the world. Now it's the exact opposite. It's the people who are supposed to be the let your freak flag fly crowd who are suppressing everything. They need to take their own advice and move on.org. It gets particularly stupid when it comes to mascots, team names, and logos. The Washington Redskin controversy finally died down after a Washington Post survey showed that 9 out of 10 Native Americans were not offended. 10 out of 10 douchebags on Twitter and the comments section of HuffPost were offended for them, so they didn't need to be offended. I don't think Redskins are big fans of the pigskin. Native Americans aren't huge football watchers. That didn't stop Cal State Long Beach from getting rid of their Prospector Pete mascot, which became a target of the Golden State social justice warriors because the gold rush led to killing of indigenous people. And in 2015, Governor Jerry Brown signed a law banning public schools in the state from adopting the Redskins moniker for their teams. At the time it was passed, there were only 4 schools using the name, and they were given 2 years to get rid of it. Good job, Jerry. Way to work small to big. Can we please focus on traffic now? Let's worry less about the Redskins and more about the red lights. The real problem with the focus on these nonsense issues is satiation. It just stops you from actually doing anything that will have a genuine effect. As if stopping a school from using a mascot is actually going to accomplish anything for the community you do-gooders are trying to protect. It's like feeding hungry children a boot full of sawdust. They'd announce they're full, and you'd announce your work is done. As if we could just get rid of Uncle Ben and Aunt Jemima, and the black community would have their ship turned around in no time. Think about the actual problems that plague the Native American community. Imagine explaining to their faces that you've been working really hard on the mascot problem. Hey, tutors who are heading to the reservation, turn around. Problem solved. Cancel the orders for the insulin and the substance abuse counselors. Prospector Pete is gone. Wow, Aunt Jemima and Uncle Ben, run to punch. All right, I'm your emotional sport animal. Go get that book and make Lynch happy and pre-order on Amazon or post-order it on Amazon, whatever we're calling it now. And maybe we will make that New York Times bestseller list. Put it on layaway, like He-Man. Sorry. That's so homoerotic. By the way, if you'd like to get hold of Mike, who's a very skilled therapist, go to mc-ne.com. We're doing video therapy now anywhere within Massachusetts, right, Mike?
Yep.
All right. Thank you, my brother. Great job as per usual. And we'll talk very soon. And look, congratulations on making a lot of the lists throughout the land, just not the one that has New York Times at the beginning of it.
Yeah, no, I just subscribed to the Wall Street Journal.
Nice. All right, let me hit Simply Safe. Number one sign of a bad home security system is that it's complicated. And when it gets complicated, then you never use it. And that's why we all use and love Simply Safe. 2 I's in there. Simple is faster, designed to be easy to use while protecting your whole home 24/7. Order online, open the box, put the sensors up, peel it, 3M, batteries last up to 10 years, plug it in, plug the main in, put all the sensors everywhere else, done. No technician, no salesperson comes to disrupt your home, no outrageous monthly fees. or years long contracts, I've always used Simply Safe. It's very discreet. It's very small. No drilling, no pulling wires, no ex-con in your house busting around your bedroom. It's Simply Safe. Named the best overall home security of 2020 by U.S. and World Report. What do we got? It's just 50 cents a day. What do we got, Dawson?
Head to simplysafe.com/Adam and get a free HD camera for our listeners. That's simplysafe.com/Adam to make sure they know that our show sent you.
All right. Take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do some drinks with Dan Dunn and welcome the usuals right after this.
And now, Alcoa presents Definitely Not a Jew on the Adam Carolla Show. Dateline, Metairie, Louisiana. A 24-year-old woman was arrested for disturbing the peace after pepper spraying patrons at Chuck E. Cheese. Definitely not a Jew.
Well, now, welcome to the show, Dan Dunn podcast, What We're Drinking with Dan Dunn. And also, you can shoot him a tweet at The Imbiber. Of course, Gina Grad and Bald Brine with us
excited.
now. Everybody's going to get drunk, but I'm the designated driver for the show and for me, so I'm not going to be drinking, but I will be enjoying booze through your palate. Yes.
So it says I narrowed it down to antibiotics or pregnant.
This demands an explanation. You bring your own booze on planes.
This sounds a little sketchy, I gotta admit.
I don't have to land the plane though. I got up early. I have a bunch of stuff to do, and I have to drive myself back to the house. And I just thought, I'm going to make an argument for my alcoholism.
Let's hear it.
I do not know when to say when. Once the booze starts flowing, it would happily continue to flow, and I'd end up having to sleep in the back of the studio tonight. This
is 100% true. There often will be a dump bucket effect that Adam will finish
yes.
for us.
Right. Well, so here's my problem. When we're tasting stuff and then putting it away, and Dan brings such a bevy of high-end, top-shelf booze, I can't throw it away. Now, if you don't believe me about things I can't throw away, Max Zapata, if you go in the kitchen, I brought Max Zapata a present because I went out last night with Matt DeAndrea to Morton's in Burbank, and I said, I want surf and turf. And they said, oh, we got a deal for lobster and steak. And I said, yeah, bring the lobster. And I said, I don't know how to deal with a full lobster, like a cooked lobster. And Matt goes, you break the arms off and you crack the claws and all. I'm from North Hollywood. We never went anywhere. I think we went to Sizzler once, which had like steak and langostino, but we weren't allowed to even have langostino. We had. You want to show us, Max Bab? Are you showing them?
Oh, my goodness.
There's a lobster. It's funny, the wall behind it's exact same color stuff. Now,
that is a full lobster.
Well, here's why it looks like a full lobster. We ate all the parts that you would eat of the lobster. And then
left him the tamale.
And then Matt said, it's done. It's done. You throw it away. And I said, no. I know one human being and 3 seagulls who will eat.
And the human beings in quotation marks.
Yeah. And I don't work with the seagulls anymore. But I was like, there's one human being who will eat the rest of the guts out of this lobster. And he said, who the fuck would eat that? I said, Chris Max Zapata. And he's like, so what do you want to do? I said, we're going to pack up the lobster. We're going to take it. He eats the gooky guts that the round eyes don't eat. And I will not throw it away. If there's somebody who's going to eat that, I'm bringing it home. So anyway, I do that with lobster. I do it with booze.
And I really appreciate it. I actually consider that the best part of the lobster.
That's what I love about you. That's what I love.
Well, don't worry. We'll drink enough for you.
Right. So, Gina, you wanted to play a Bill Maher clip before you get 2 or 3 sheets to the wind?
Yeah, actually, it's it's long. I mean, it's Bill Maher's final like new rule, and it's about 4 minutes. And I don't know if you've heard it yet, but it is fucking priceless, amazing, perfect. I mean, I have little clips here and there for the news, but if you want to just hear it, I don't think there's a word of it that you won't enjoy and
agree with. Yeah, I watched the beginning part of the show the other night, but I haven't got to the end yet.
This is a sermon, is what it is.
I'm going to drink.
Let's do it, yeah. Oh, Dan, do you want to get them started on their first pour, their first mix or whatever while we're playing this?
Sure. Yeah, let's jump in with our old pal, Simon Ford.
Oh.
Simon and Adam met years ago when I was doing one of my old shows, and Simon invented a drink called the Better Man.
Yeah.
And by the way, Adam, we've talked about this before, what exactly was in it. Simon sent me what he believes was the original recipe, which was 1.5 ounces of bourbon, 3/4 ounce of lemon juice, 1/2 ounce of simple syrup, which is just water and sugar, and an egg white optional to sort of froth it up a little bit. You shake those ingredients over ice, and you put them over like a crushed ice situation, like a bramble, okay? And then you take the mangria and put that all over the crushed ice, like you would a bramble or an old water ice type situation, and then you garnish with grapes and an orange slice.
I got to tell, we're at what barbecue joint were we at?
Navy Blues.
Martin's.
No, I was asking the Dan Dunn barbecue. Yeah, so that's a really good barbecue place, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were there, and Simon's a mixologist, and in my world, there's only bartenders and bar backs. I don't know what a mixologist was, but I was like, he said, I'll make a cocktail with mangria, and I was like, oh, knock yourself out, mixologist guy. And then he came back with this thing, the Better Man, and it was fucking exquisite. I remember just loving it, and it looked amazing as well. All right, so Simon's got his own gin out.
Simon went on to launch his own gin in 2012, and it's a really, like, if you can see here, it's a really good looking bottle, very sturdy bottle there that they did. So he did this in 2000. So he partnered up with a guy named Charles Maxwell, who's a very distinguished 10th generation master distiller. This thing's won just about every award you can win, Ford's Gin, including twice at the Ultimate Spirits Challenge, which is a big deal. It won Best New Spirit at Tales of the Cocktail down in New Orleans. So it's one of my favorite gins. And what I would like to say, guys, is maybe try it first, just straight up. Just take a little bit of it.
Most of these have been opened in my household, Dan. And most of these have been opened already in my household, and the Ford's Gin is a big hit.
It's really great. I mean, what you're going to get here, the key botanicals in this thing are jasmine, flower, grapefruit, and of course you get a lot of juniper being the main botanical in any gin. This is what's called a London dry gin, okay? Despite the name, it can be made anywhere. It can be made anywhere in the world, but Ford's is actually one of the few that's actually made in London. And where the term dry gin comes from is prior to the invention of a still called the coffee still, okay? Prior to that, which was probably in the early 1800s, around 1830, gin was bad, okay? It was nasty. And they would just put a lot of shit in there to try to mask the bad flavor because they didn't have the proper still to really make it as pure as it could be. And then once, so they would try to cover up the unpleasant notes with all kinds of stuff. After the invention of the coffee still, this was a pure spirit that they could sell unsweetened, or as they referred to it then, dry. So that's where London dry gin, and your classic examples would be like Tanqueray, Beefeater. You got Ford's now. You've got Sipsmith, which I think I brought in to an earlier episode. So now we're going to do, you get a little bit of this neat. Did you try it?
Oh my God. I'm not a big gin person, and there's something so delicious about this. It doesn't have that car air freshener overly piney quality. It's delicious.
I am a big gin.
Sorry, go ahead.
I am a big gin person, and this is very good.
Gin is like something to aspire to. Like, I feel like it's like, no one likes gin when they're 23, really. I don't think I liked it when I was 33. There's a nuance in life. It's a nuance. It's a nuance in music. It's a nuance in art. It's a nuance in films. You know, like there's nuance where, you know, like you tell the difference, but, you know, you don't want all your sushi to be tempura and deep fried.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
filled with cream cheese and mayonnaise.
Right. Like so you start, as you get older, you get this slightly, hopefully, you get this more evolved kind of nuance thing. And it's the same part that didn't like gin when you were in your 20s that almost appreciates it more now because there's more going on. It's Sorry, go ahead.
You graduated to gin.
Right.
I probably turned the corner on gin when I was like 29, 30, you know, right around there.
Well, gin is classic. It's timeless. Once upon a time, it was the most popular, clear spirit around. I mean, there's a reason Humphrey Bogart didn't say in Casablanca of all the flavored vodka joints in the world. You know, gin was cool, man. Gin, you know, and obviously it's with the reemergence of the craft cocktail movement, gin was such an integral part of so many classic cocktails, from the Negroni to what we're going to do right now is a gin and tonic. Obviously, I got my mixers here. We got our Q mixers. I've said this all the time, guys. You have the best spirit in the world, but if you have shitty mixers, you're going to have a shitty drink. Because about 70% of this drink is going to be the tonic, and then about 30% gin. And then I garnish it with a lime. I'm a lime fan.
I'm going to drink the shit out of this when I get home.
I love that we're drinking this in front of you. This is a new experience here, Adam. So you're going to see and you know, I like this particular cue because it's very bubbly, and I think that's such an important aspect in a gin and tonic.
Indeed.
That effervescence to it. So try this, because Simon designed this gin to be made for cocktails. You know, not a lot of people drinking gin neat or on the rocks. Yeah.
God, has there ever been a better time and a simultaneously worse time to be alive? Like I was just kind of thinking of, like, you know, we've all maybe turned into beer snobs as you've gotten older. And I remember when I was young, if someone's going on a beer run, like, I don't even know if I had a brand. It's like, I'm going to get beer. Okay.
Whatever $5 will get you.
Yeah.
Get me.
Is it cheap? Is it cold?
Some of those beers. My grandfather used to get beers at the it's now a John's. It was a Vons. It was like an Albertsons or something like that, or whatever before. But he'd go there and just buy generic beer. It was literally generic. It's just beer.
Beer.
It literally it tasted like beer. That's what it tasted like. It tasted like if somebody spilled beer in a car and you parked it overnight and you opened the door the next day. It's like, oh man, there's somebody threw up beer in here or something. Like, that's what the beer was. There was no the color, the notes. There was nothing. It was beer. Beer was beer. When we went camping, we just bought Lucky Lager or whatever, Stroh's, or, you know, I didn't know what it had notes or hints of. I didn't know what the alcohol was on it or anything. It was just beer. Such a fucking better time to be alive.
I mean, think about it. You had Gordon's. You had, you know, there weren't a lot of options on the gin front. Now there are so many options, to the point where I'll say this: there might be too many. Okay, frankly, but I put Ford's certainly up there with the classics with Beefeater, with Plymouth, with Tanqueray. I think they've done an amazing job with this gin, developed with bartenders. You know, Adam, from having met Simon, he knows everybody in the business. So I think he consulted pretty much everyone in the business while they were making this gin. So price-wise, you want me to wait till the end?
Wait.
Right,
oh no, give it out now. We won't need to guess because
I'm going to tell you one thing about what we're doing here tonight. Every single thing. I'm trying to focus on summer drinks here today, and summer's here. Every bottle that I brought on tonight is less than $30.
Wow.
No way.
Usually I'm busting out some of the really expensive stuff, but I figured, you know what? It's summertime. You're going to a party. You're in a bed. You know, you're going to somebody's house. You're going to have gin and tonic. You're going to the boat. You don't want to spend $100 on something to go do that. So Ford's gin is $28 a bottle.
Wow.
I'm done with the clown show.
It's a steal for that. Yeah, absolutely. So
all right.
Bill Maher,
what else?
Yeah, that is fantastic.
Let's play the Mar clip while you get your next libation queued up.
And finally, new rule: black people have to demand that white people stop culturally appropriating how mad they are about racism. It's great that Caucasians have finally joined the fight for racial justice in unprecedented numbers, but hating racism the most? You can't steal that. Elvis taking Little Richard's act, that was bad enough. Victor Sengby is an Oakland resident who put up small loops for footholds on trees in a local park for exercise and games. He says,
out of the dozens and hundreds and thousands of people that have walked by, no one, has thought that it looked anywhere close to a noose.
But Oakland's mayor, Libby Schaaf, wasn't going to let all that cheat her out of a chance to signal her virtue. She said these incidents will be investigated as a hate crime. Why is this white woman seeing racism where a black man isn't? The mayor also said intentions don't matter, but they do matter. And white people need to stop trying to cancel other white people whose heart is in the right place, but don't get it exactly right on the first try. A few weeks ago, when everyone was posting a black square on Instagram, BuzzFeed wrote, "Influencers, it's a privilege to post a black square and then go back to your usual content." As opposed to what? Abandoning your life and just posting a black square every day? People got called out for not posting the square, then for just posting it without speaking out, and then for posting it and speaking out, but not voicing their support in the exact way that was said in the new decoder ring. They were helping wrong. Ellen DeGeneres felt enough pressure so that she erased a tweet that said, "People of color in this country have faced injustice for far too long." Okay, that may not be exactly Black Lives Matter, but it's also very true and pretty close to what we're trying to get everyone to understand. Liberalism should be about lifting people up, and you don't do that by slapping down people who are trying to say, "I'm on your side." No wonder white people right now are acting like a nervous waiter on their first day. So scared of making a mistake, they put a fork in your iced tea and a straw in your salad. We don't want to chant the wrong chant or hold the wrong sign. Hey, please, it's all we can do to clap on the right beat. You want to be a good ally, but not too good or you're being a white savior. Use your voice, but don't make it about yourself. But speak up, unless it's your time to just listen. And then silence is violence. Even though sometimes silence just means someone works 2 jobs and has 3 kids. They have baby food on their shirt, not hate in their heart. Some guy just wrote into the New York Post, "I am a senior level leader in an organization and feel compelled to speak up about racial injustice, but I'm afraid to. As a white man, I'm afraid that I will say something that will be misinterpreted and I will do more harm than good for my career too. Staying silent seems wrong, but safer. Am I alone in this?" Unfortunately, no. There was a sports announcer in Sacramento who tweeted, "All lives matter," and immediately got fired, even though he apologized and said he just didn't understand. What he said came from a place of ignorance, not racism. That difference is important. Someone could have just explained to him why there's a deservedly special reason we single out black lives for protection. But now, instead of a possible ally, we create a bitter unemployed person. Willow Smith, yes, Willow Smith said, "I'm seeing people shaming others for what they are choosing to say or shaming people for not saying anything at all. I feel like if we really want change, shaming doesn't lead to learning." She gets it. Surely people twice her age could make the effort. I worry that the kind of tension that the guardians of gotcha are creating is going to make people afraid to mingle at all and thrust us back towards a resegregation of sorts, where instead of just seeing a person and not a color, now we're only seeing color. Maybe this is old school liberalism talking, but I don't think that's the way to go. Let's hang out. And if I fuck up, tell me why, not goodbye. It's a gradual, years-long process, like Trump descending a ramp. But things are better when the races get together, like when rappers sample Steely Dan.
Yeah, well, he's right.
I really like that.
Yeah. Well, it's always funny when someone says all the shit you either say all the time or think all the time or say and think all the time, and you go, "That guy's a genius." He knows exactly what he should. Yeah, it's all the same shit I've been saying for years.
That's why I thought you might relate.
I do
and
relate.
I love he called it Guardians of Gotcha, which I think it really, really crystallizes it.
All right, Dan, next booze offering, please. I think
your mute's on.
Dan muted himself.
There we go.
There we go.
Back. Sorry, I didn't want to talk over Bill Maher. How about some tequila?
How about it?
Yeah, this is fun drinking. Although I was kind of wishing you were involved here, Adam.
I will make up for it when I get home.
I also, Dan and I were talking. He wants to do a martini lesson with you, Adam. So
yeah, we'll have to get him an Uber for that one.
Yeah, I'd like to do a martini thing because I don't feel like I'm good at it. I don't know enough. I can't even.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Yeah,
and we'll do vodka and gin martinis. We'll try different vermouths. We'll mix it up. Right now we got Espolón right here. Espolón tequila. The Espolón is actually the name of the spur on a rooster. That's what it's named for. This brand has been around since 1995. It's the bottle. The artwork on this is you might recognize it. A guy named Jose Posada. His most famous work. He does a lot of the skulls that you see around Day of the Dead. That's what he's famous for. That's on the bottle there. This tequila is made in the highlands of Jalisco, Mexico. Jalisco, of course, being where the most of the tequila in the world is mandated, has to be made there. Okay, there's a couple of little pockets outside of the state of Jalisco in Mexico where they can make tequila, but almost all of it is made there. Their master tequila maker was a chemical engineer, and he actually designed these stainless steel autoclaves, pressure that cooks the agave. The steam pressure that it produces even more caramelization in this tequila. So I think what you're going to see is a little bit of sweeter quality to this. So let's try it. Let's try it neat first, guys.
I gotta say, tequila has come a long way from my childhood, where you sort of held your nose and shot it down, and then dry heaved afterward. Like the best you could do when I was young was Cuervo Gold. That's all we had. If it was gold, it was good. Hopefully it didn't come in a plastic bottle. But I mean, tequila was there to get you buzzed, but you had to sort of tolerate it. You couldn't really enjoy it.
Drinking tequila used to be a challenge.
Right.
Like you challenge another person to drink tequila.
Right.
Yeah. So this one actually spends a little bit of time in barrels, in American oak barrels that have what's called a number 2 char. You guys know about char?
No.
They char the barrels when they make bourbon. Okay, there's 4 levels, and they kind of range. It's like 15 seconds to a minute. It's how much they burn the barrel. So the number 2 is about a 30-second burn. And what that does is it draws out a lot of that sweetness from the wood. And I think what this adds to this tequila, and you guys tell me but like there's a vanilla flavor, a coffee flavor, and there's some spiciness to this thing as well.
Definitely vanilla.
Go ahead.
One of the smoothest tequilas ever tried.
I feel like a sex addict holding a boom mic while you guys are shooting a porn, and I'm just wearing jeans with a boner, holding this fucking mic over my head. Now I'm starting to tremble now, like the mic's starting to vibrate. It's not the weight. Just watching it back and forth. That's right. Oh, another chick has entered the room. She's getting involved. Oh, she's going down on the chick. And I'm like, see the thing's just trembling. My face is getting red.
Gina, did someone order a pizza?
So let's do this one. Let's do it let's put about 2 ounces of tequila in a glass with ice. We got the grapefruit, which we've had before. So we're doing sort of a makeshift Paloma here, which I know.
That's so good. The grapefruit is one of the all-time underrated flavors. Like grapefruit's not great just to eat. Just I'm going to peel a grapefruit and eat a grapefruit, but the flavor of the grapefruit is fucking awesome.
Pamplemousse. Brian hates it. I
was about to say, Adam, get ready for totally inappropriate point shitting. I fucking hate grapefruit so much.
I love it.
I love the flavor, the smell of it.
I don't happen to have the grapefruit. Could I do like the ginger beer or the ginger ale? Or would that be not so good?
No, I just drink it.
No problem.
And the thing about the grapefruit, like I said, I like this one because it's not. I tried a grapefruit soda the other day that was sweet. And to me, that ruins That ruins the Paloma. I like this. This Q one's very crisp. Now, did you guys get? So I guess it'd just be Brian at this point. Did you get the Ancho Reyes?
That's been a big hit in my house too.
Okay, so this is the Ancho Reyes right here.
That's like half gone.
Yeah, and it's made from the chili ancho in Mexico. It's a very spicy liqueur. Okay,
it's an ancho chili tequila, basically. I mean,
it's a liqueur. And what I do is take a tiny little bit of that. I put it in here. See this little bit here? Just take a tiny bit of that and add that in.
All right.
To your Paloma there for a spicy Paloma, and man, that's a drink. That's a brunch right there for me. I don't need the food. Just
That boom mic is shaking like a Geiger counter.
Oh man, it's so good, and I love the. And again, with this tequila, with the Espolón, it's already sort of a rich tequila. You can really get that roasted agave. There's some tropical fruit in there that I think plays really well off that the zest of the grapefruit. And then again, the vanilla, and it's just a really great tequila for mixing and also drinking neat. And the price on this one, about $21.
Wow.
Nice.
Max Zapata. I want that recipe emailed to me so when I get home, I'm drinking it.
I don't have anything mixed in here, and it's very drinkable. Just a couple of tiny ice cubes. It's delicious.
All right, Dan, let's pick one more booze or cocktail to get into, and then we'll play some Hollywood hand-me-downs where we can guess on these odds.
Well, I got two here. I'll go quick. I got a rum, Crucian, aged rum right here from St. Croix, 80 proof, okay? It's distilled from fermented molasses, all right? So try this one, and you're going to find something interesting here, I think, from some of the other rums that I've brought onto the show. It's aged about 2 years, minimum of 2 years. It's a medium-bodied rum. It's very clean.
I think Gina and me have both of the bottle in the other room. I don't think that was on our list.
Hey, they'll get the booze. Max Pat, get Dr. Drew on the phone. Tell him I can't stop chewing my tongue.
Yeah,
and I don't know what to do. I'm chewing my tongue. I'm tapping my foot the whole time. My whole body hurts. I'm sweating profusely.
I've never seen you like this.
Yeah. Ask him if that's normal or there's something I can do.
I'll send him a text.
So let him know I've never felt better and I love him.
I'm going to do this one with cola. And you're going to get a spiciness to this rum, like a cracked white pepper spice, a little bit of licorice to it, that I think is really good in a rum and, cola, I guess, not Coke. We'll do that one. And now this is going to probably surprise you guys. Want to take a guess on the price on this, Gina, Brian?
The Crucian?
Yeah.
It's a beautiful bottle. It tastes great. I mean, you said it's around 30. I'm going to have to go straight up with 30.
Yeah, Brian?
Brian, if he tasted it, he had to go get it from the other room.
He's just chugging it from the bottle right now.
I feel great.
Yeah, I mean, this is this is a cocktail rum, I think. Definitely more than just there are higher end rums, I think, for sipping. This is a cocktail rum, but it really does work. And when I tell you what it costs, you're gonna see why I love this one. For if you're having a party, you're having people over, you need to get a couple of bottles of rum to get people going. It's $13 a bottle.
Wow.
Oh my God.
$13. And,
cheers.
And I want to tell you about this last one real quick, Ace, just because this is the most unusual spirit that I brought in today. It's called Haku Vodka. Okay. It's made, it's the only vodka in the world that's made 100% from Japanese white rice, and it's filtered through bamboo charcoal. Okay, so it's made by Suntory. I know we've had the whiskey before, the Suntory whiskey. This is a unique process. So, guys, if you want to just try this neat real quick.
Dan, can you see how much is left in my bottle that you sent me? That is about half a bottle. This is a very big hit in my house.
You love this one, huh?
Christy, my mom loved this one.
What's different about the vodka flavor? Send Drew a note. Tell him there's blood coming out of my ears right now. What is the difference between the vodka that's made from potatoes and then there's the Ciroc which is made from grapes, I believe, and then there's the vodka that's made from rice. So what's the taste and filtered through the bamboo charcoal? Okay, Brian, what's it taste like versus vodka that you would know like Stoli?
Dan can definitely clear this up, but I know that vodka is a neutral spirit. So once you dilute it, it has no actual flavor. I think the difference between high quality vodka and medium quality vodka and low quality is the smoothness. But Dan, please correct me where I'm wrong.
Well, I would beg to differ slightly. You're
the expert.
Yeah, there are certainly elements of whatever the starch source was. Okay, when we talk about distillation in general, it starts with a starch. Is it a potato? Is it wheat? Is it grapes? As Adam pointed out with Ciroc, and you are certainly going to get some of the character of whatever the source material is in the vodka. But what you're not getting when you say it's a neutral spirit is it's not spending any time in wood. It's not being flavored as gin would be post distillation with botanicals. There's nothing going into the vodka. But I certainly, for me, what I get with this one, and I attribute it to the rice, is there's a real roundness to this vodka, like a smooth flavor. The mouthfeel on this is really unusual.
Almost all sweet.
Yeah, right.
Almost. I mean, like a little dull on my tongue. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's the kind of thing that it works really well in a drink called a highball, which is just a Haku, vodka, soda, and a lemon peel. That's the most popular drink. That is the single most popular drink in all of Japan, the Japanese highball. Okay, and they're really taking off here in the States. I'm trying this one today with this elderflower tonic. Do you guys have that?
Yeah, I do.
The elderflower. So this is going to add a little element to it that I think.
Hey Dan, is highball a generic term for a cocktail?
Yeah, a highball is the name of a drink, basically a drink with ice and soda.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. But it could be.
It's also the name of a style of glass.
Right, but it could be
different.
It doesn't have to be vodka.
It does not. No.
Okay.
You can do it with scotch, whatever. I mean, this one, I think. And again, we've talked before on the show about having a story, right? When you go, you show up at a party, anybody can show up with a bottle of Smirnoff, which is great, or Stoli, but this one has a story. You're bringing something that I'm going to guess most people have never had before. A vodka distilled from white rice. It's so it's white rice and koji rice. That's what they use. They combine that for the mash for this.
So it's made exclusively in Japan?
Osaka. It's made in Osaka, Japan. The process is unique to Suntory. Obviously, Suntory is the biggest spirit, a giant company in Japan, the biggest spirits company. They bought Jim Beam. It's actually Beam Suntory now, which is always interesting, right? This iconic American brand is actually owned by a Japanese company. And then, it's one of my favorites, really.
How much? What's the price point?
$28.
So all under 30. All right. What I'm doing is I've lowered the boom mic down. The chick's in doggy position, and I'm trying to penetrate her with the boom mic while the director screams at me. So that's what's happened to me right now is the sex addict with the boner holding the boom mic. Dan, you're going to hang around with us. We're going to jump in and we're going to do this celebrity auction thing. So we've done these things before where it was sort of based on Kurt Cobain's guitar selling for $6 million plus, and then a sweater selling for like $334 or something from the MTV Unplugged from 1993. So we got Hollywood hand-me-downs, and these are tease a couple items, Max Zapata or Dawson.
We got Harrison Ford's whip from one of the movies.
Mm-hmm.
And Darth Vader's helmet.
So we're gonna guess. We're gonna guess at these. These have recently sold at auction.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with the kids and Dan, and we'll guess these auction items right after this.
It's time to check Adam's voicemail.
Hey, Ace Man, this is KC from Portland, a.k.a. The Spotter. Just wanted to know, peeing on your girlfriend in the shower. hilarious, obviously. She doesn't find it as hilarious. Wanted to see where you stood on this and if you've ever tried it yourself. Thanks.
You can leave us a message at 888-634-1744.
Oh, yeah, the spotter. There's a male cheerleader who does some spotting and then pulled my balls. I think we were in Portland. Yeah, it's a rite of passage in any relationship where the man gets to pee on the girl. I have a rich history of being peed upon in places where it wasn't kosher. So the shower, the ocean, places like that don't sound like much to me. Women, not an aphrodisiac, right, Gina Gran?
No, not into it. Tolerate it sometimes if you're really in love. Otherwise, that could be a deal breaker, even though you are in the shower.
Yeah. So I think my thing is there isn't much upside, and there is a large potential downside. Do you know what I mean?
Indeed.
Unless you're there to mark your territory and you're going to run into her at a party 14 years later and she's got her kids and she's been married to a dude for 9 years and you go, oh, yeah, I remember her leg. But anyway, now who sounds drunk? Should we do the items, Max Zapata? We have an intro.
It's time to find out how much did they pay in another round of Hollywood hand-me-downs. All right, let's begin with Harrison Ford's Indiana Jones stunt bullwhip from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Oh,
stunt bullwhip.
So I should say that we've played this in the past, where we'd show 3 items to you guys at the same time, and then you would guess, and then which was most expensive. We're gonna do Rotten Tomatoes rules this time, so we just want a number, and we'll add up all the differences.
So used in the movie,
this
on
was used
camera,
in stunt sequences throughout the movie.
Wow.
Did Harrison Ford hold of this whip, or did his stunt double hold this whip?
No, I don't know. See, this
is always stunt whip.
This is always the problem. Yeah, but when they're showing them, they got to be close on. I'm looking at a picture of him now holding it.
Didn't you acknowledge that was called the hero whip or the hero gun or whatever?
Well,
that was the one that had for close-ups.
Yeah, well, they'll have like a hero car. If you're doing Ken Miles driving a GT40 at Le Mans, there'll be a hero car, like the one that looks good, and then there's the one that's getting all dirty and screwed up. And like I said, they'll be in the movie Le Mans, the Steve McQueen movie. They had like a hero watch. They had one that was always in perfect shape, and then the one he wore when he was driving. And there is that. I don't know that there's a hero bullwhip. I feel like that's just. They probably had 3 bullwhips and used them all. So let's just call it the one he used in the movie and say, this is tough. It's always tough because some of this stuff is way more than you'd think and others is surprisingly cheap. I will go with $80,000.
Holy shit. I went significantly less than that. So this is not in the top half of Indiana Jones movies. And I don't know for sure that he actually touched it or used it. I went well low, 4K.
Interesting. I felt the same way Brian did. I feel like it's iconic. It's an iconic role, but it being not from Raiders, frankly, I think it falls off a lot. I said 10K.
Oh, he didn't use it in Raiders?
Well, this is from Temple of Doom. This is the second Indiana Jones movie.
Oh, I thought he always used one. Sad. What do you think, Dan?
No, he does always use one.
Oh, this is from the second one.
This is not iconic. Not as iconic of a movie.
The first thing I think is this is the least buzzed I've been on one of these segments, and I'm thinking it's directly traceable to the fact that Ace isn't drinking.
Correlated.
I feel like we've toned it down a little bit in deference to him.
I don't feel that way.
Just saying. But I'll keep drinking through this segment. All right. I'm going to say, what did you say, Brian? $10,000?
I said 4K. I went real low.
Hey, no Price is Right rules.
Yeah, you got to write your
10,001 penny.
$80,000?
Yeah.
Auction. Now I'm going to say $15,000. 15.
The stunt bullwhip from Temple of Doom went for $15,000.
Wow.
Dan Dunn.
Interesting.
Dan Dunn.
Cheers to you.
That's minus $5 for Dan Dunn.
Dan's going first next time.
I'm having a shot of Espolone just for that. Here we go. All right.
Next, we have Chris Evans, Captain America, Distressed Vibration Stunt Shield from Captain America, the First Avenger. It was used in battle scenes where Captain America was under heavy fire.
Adam, you've obviously seen this a few times.
Yeah. I'm fine with these movies. I like the Avengers and all that. I loved like the first Iron Man, maybe the second Iron Man. I mean, those were
No,
good.
first one's really good. We saw that
first one's
together.
Really good. Oh yeah, it was really good. All right, a lot of deep pockets in the nerd world. I feel when you get into the superhero-y kind of stuff, the price goes up. All right, is everyone ready? No?
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I gotta go big. 65.
I went lower again at 20K.
Me too. I said 18K.
I'm going to say $32,000.
The stunt shield from Captain America, the First Avenger, was sold for $75,000.
Wow.
Shut your face up.
The nerds,
Adam, you
man.
look big.
The nerds.
Unreal.
$5,000.
What'd you say, Adam?
I said 65.
Oh, man.
Next up, we have Darth Vader's screen-used helmet
Oh, boy.
from Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back.
That's the Hulk.
It was worn
Is
throughout
there a
the
number
film.
high enough?
Yeah, that's
Talk about nerds in deep pockets.
It's about as good as it gets.
So what do you get? You get the helmet and the face mask and the whole
Looks like it.
enchilada.
The
Wow.
stink of James Earl Jones.
That's
the
right.
scent of him.
Kevin
I could
Prowse.
smell
Yeah,
James Earl
exactly.
Jones.
And
Wait,
that-
was the guy?
James Earl Jones did not wear the mask. It was actor
voiceover.
David Prowse throughout the film.
Oh, that guy. All right.
And he wasn't aware that that was going to happen, right?
No, after the first one, he got
Yeah.
the hint. After he saw the first one.
Okay.
So this one was worn in which ones?
Empire Strikes Back, the second of the
Big one.
original movies.
Oh, okay. Well, it's got to be a
The one
lot.
with the snow
Matt
battle.
Zapata, how are we scoring this? That the combined, like whoever's points or whoever's dollar amount is the
Golf rules.
golf rules. Oh, the number.
Rotten Tomatoes rules. Yeah.
Rotten Tomatoes rules, yeah. So I'm just entering the actual total and then whatever you guys are saying,
Oh,
and it's
okay,
tallying
sorry.
up the differences.
All right. Geez. I mean, what are we talking about here? I mean, if Kurt Cobain's guitar is $6 million, what do we?
Yeah, this is.
Well, first of all, one of the most famous, I would argue the most famous scene or line in any Star Wars movie was when Darth Vader reveals that he's Luke's father.
Spoiler alert.
And that happened in this movie with that helmet on. That's got to add $1 million to the price, I think, right?
All right.
Serious for geeks,
You
right?
ready?
It's got-
Everyone locked in?
Yep.
2.3 million.
I played it safe and won 1 million.
1.5 million.
I'm going $4 million.
Wow.
Darth Vader's helmet from The Empire Strikes Back was sold for $898,420.
I needed that.
I was going to say
How
7.
long ago was that? That's off by $1 million. These are all fairly recent, right?
2019.
Oh, okay. It's fairly recent. All right.
Next up, Dawn Adams' Maxwell Smart signature shoe phone from Get Smart. It's the vintage original shoe phone prop used during filming.
It's going to upset me because this is not going to go for that much. And I love this show. Lots of good comedy in it, and it held up. Like the Mel Brooks, Buck Henry, just very different, irreverent, and Don Adams was great in it, and Barbara Feldman, I think, was 99 and very cute in this. All right, this isn't going to go for that much, but there's a group that's clinging to life that probably gets it. I'm going to say, $2,300.
I'm right there with you. $2K.
$3,500.
Well, if I could make up that $300 on Brian after the $1 million I just gave away, that would go a long way.
Is it 4G compatible? The shoe phone?
It's literally a rotary phone on the bottom of a shoe.
Well, that brings it down. I'm going to go $1,800.
The Maxwell Smart shoe phone was sold for $12,000.
Oh,
Wow.
$12,000. Wow. Not too shabby. That was a big part of that show. I mean, he'd go for that shoe phone all the time. All right.
Finally, the Jupiter 2 spaceship filming miniature from the Lost in Space from 1965. 48 inches in diameter. Features an articulating landing gear and the landing sequence with original fusion core atomic engine wired with 30-plus small incandescent light bulbs. Crafted out of fiberglass and wood.
Lost in Space. First off, being a modeler was a real job back then. Like, you making all those miniature. How about just all the miniature ships, like for battles and wars? You know, like all that towns that Godzilla was step on. You know.
I know you're not into Star Wars for a good reason, but Tessa's now really into it, so we're rewatching the original movies. Those are all miniatures, at least in that first movie. That is some real craftsmanship, some artwork, really.
Yeah, I love that stuff. All right, so Lost in Space was that crazy movie where like the family was just in space, and then they had that crazy, cowardly, gay kind of pedophile uncle who was up there with them, which is a weird character. It was a bizarre character. I mean, he was clearly gay, but in the closet, hated that like the young boy, and was just a coward. And I don't know if you guys ever saw an episode of Lost in Space. I don't even know the guy I'm talking about. If you could find, I don't know what that actor's name was. He was like the uncle in Lost in Space, and he was always that kind of guy who's like, "Oh, we're in trouble. This is never going to work. Oh, take the boy, not me." And then throw him away.
His name was Dr. Smith.
Yeah, Dr. Smith.
Dr. Smith. I don't know his real name, but his name on the show is Dr. Smith.
Yeah, his real name is Jonathan Harris.
Okay.
Is he straight? Is he gay? I mean, he's got to be dead. But what I'm saying is can you find a clip of that guy talking in Lost in Space?
We'll look for it. And Harris was married to his childhood sweetheart, Gertrude Bregman, from 1938 until his death in 2002. Right. They had one child.
It was a different time.
Gertrude Beardman.
Happy Pride, everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. Was
this the one with the robot, the Danger Will Robinson?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All right. So this actual thing, I don't know if we're going to make up $1 million on Bald Brian with this thing, but this thing can't be more than $5,000. Although it's 4 foot across. It sounds pretty good. I'm going to say.
Hold on.
Oh, you going to
Lost in Space. Who cares?
They made a feature.
Indeed.
All right, you ready?
Yeah, you're good.
$6,500.
Yeah, you can make it 500 on me because I got 6K.
I got 6,500.
Wow.
I'm going to say $17,000.
Wow.
Yeah. The Jupiter 2 spaceship miniature sold for $180,000.
Wow.
Yes.
That's some tech money that the guy has no idea what to do with.
That's Elon Musk.
God.
Do we have Mr. Dr. Smith and his cowardly ways?
Talk, more action, please. Silence, you ninny.
Alien origin indeed, you will inform the ignoramus.
It lowers my thermal balance to a point where all senses perform at optimum efficiency.
Be still, you babbling bird brain. No one is interested in your state of health. Pull, Ninny.
I do not recommend sleep, Dr. Smith.
Oh, go away, Ninny, go away.
Out of my way, you Ninny! Just do for me what I do for your aching back, Dr. Smith, and I will be fine.
Indeed, of all the impudence.
My sensors indicate the presence of aliens.
How many?
4 1/8.
4 1/8 indeed. What a sorry specimen of computerhood you really are.
It is one of the few times.
This guy.
He's very effective.
Yes.
All right, our scores are in.
Oh, my God.
Oh, boy.
Gina Grad, congratulations. You made the podium
Huzzah.
with a score of 845,580.
I'll take it.
Dan Dunn, solid performance, but your score in at 3,317,775. Adam Carolla, a fantastic run, and you will take a spot just above Dan at 1,659,780.
I want to crunch some of those numbers. I feel like that's off by like 4.
I'm tempted to call you a ninny right now, Dawson, for this. But yeah,
Me and Brian.
ninny.
Yeah.
It's really not mean anyone.
Well, Dan, we'll see if you made the podium. We don't know. Bald Brian, your score 351,580 for the win.
That's
Nice
a dominating
job.
victory.
That is dominant.
We'll tweak that one.
All right, let me hit Simply Safe, and then we'll do some news. No one should feel unsafe at home, period. These guys are feeling pretty safe about now, whether they have security or not. You people need Simply Safe. Protect your home. Do it today. Get free shipping at simplysafe.com/Adam. All right, let's take a quick break.
Give me the news with Grad, news with Gina Grad, breaking viral, all those crazy Trump tweets. Give me news with Gina Grad, trouble in the Middle East, celebrity drunk meltdowns. Need news with Gina Grad.
The news with Gina Grad.
Well, we'll start off with a quick update on Mr. Ronald Jeremy Hyatt, otherwise known as Ron Jeremy. He did plead not guilty to charges of raping 3 women and sexually assaulting another in separate attacks back in 2014. The 67-year-old was ordered to remain jail in lieu of a $6.6 million bail. Fox News reports that prosecutors in the case allege Jeremy raped a 25-year-old woman at a home in West Hollywood in 2014, also accused of sexually assaulting 2 women ages 33 and 46, separate occasions at the same West Hollywood bar in 2017. The final charge against him is allegedly raping a 30-year-old woman at the same bar in July 2019. LA County Sheriff's detectives had been investigating Jeremy for 2 years and presented the case to prosecutors last week. So as we record this, that is what we know.
Well, first Bill Cosby, and now this. You know, all your heroes eventually.
I don't know what to believe.
Yeah.
Will
America's
disappoint
other father.
you. Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
But I think all of us, perhaps Dan, you never know, we've all had numerous encounters with Ron Jeremy, yes? And
I've met him a few times at the Playboy Mansion. When I used to write for Playboy, he would be there a lot.
Yeah.
Can't profess to know the guy, but I have met him.
Can we make he has a lot of musk. He's a very musky man. And can I say this? I don't know what it is. Now, I'm a guy who eats stuff off the ground, has been peed on by all of my friends, had shit smashed in my ear in high school famously, and I've been through everything. I've slept on the floor. There is something about musky dudes who want to wear their hair long, and there's a kind of long, greasy look, and then they want to hug it out. And when they want to hug it out, you're forced to kind of encounter their hair all the time, which is I do not possess boundaries, but if I did, that's a crossing of the boundary. The weird long hair, greasy. I don't know why. Do you think you look better with it? Like all it does is contain more of your musk. Like there's just more. There's nothing better than hugging a bald guy, and there's nothing worse than the musky, long, kind of greasy. And as Ron was getting older, his hair was getting longer and like greasier, and he wanted to hug it out more, and it always felt weird.
So are you going to be a witness for the prosecution then?
I will. I mean, anybody who's anyone who's had sex with him I would consider a victim, whether it was consensual or not.
Right.
When you talk about the musk and the long hair, remember many, many moons ago, I dated a white man with dreads who put peanut butter in his hair to get them more dread-like.
Oh,
peanut
God.
butter.
I hope
That had to be pretty hot, huh?
So,
I would pray that he was attacked by ravens when he walked down the street.
Hey, let's not forget Ron Jeremy's sweatpants, too. Every time I ever met the guy, it didn't matter where we were, he'd have sweatpants on.
Yeah.
You know, like even at a party. And I'm thinking, is his dick that big that he can't wear jeans? Or
I think we all know the answer to that.
His penis and his panis.
Well, I mean, you'd think he would wear jeans to a party. These sweatpants.
I don't know. Like when I start thinking to myself, does Ron Jeremy have money? Did he invest wisely? You know, he's got his name on a bunch of penis bills. You know, has he made money from that?
Well, like the story said, he is remaining in jail in lieu of bail. So, I mean, I know that's a lot of money. It's $6
That's how you stay rich,
but-
Gina. That's how you stay rich.
And what was the show he did, the reality show where he and Tammy Faye Baker became like best friends? It was some reality show where all those guys were living in a house together.
Oh, there was like
I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out of Here, that thing?
There was like one of those has-been house
like
or
that.
something.
The one with Mini-Me where he was, I think it was.
Yeah, there was a Celebrity House on VH1 with Vern
I
Troy.
think it was that one, yeah.
Yeah.
The Surreal Life.
Surreal Life.
Surreal Life. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, moving on, I'm sure we've all heard this story by now, but in a long line of people stepping aside or editing old sitcom footage or whatever, continuing this recent pattern of white actors walking away from roles, famously, of course,
Apu.
Thank you. But what's his real name? My God. Azaria. Thank you. CBS News reports that Mike Henry announced he will no longer lend his voice to Cleveland Brown on the long-running Fox animated series Family Guy. And he wrote on his Twitter page, "It's been an honor to play Cleveland for 20 years. I love this character, but persons of color should play characters of color. Therefore, I will be stepping down from the role." No immediate word on who's going to fill the role. In other news of that same ilk, Jenny Slate and Kristen Bell recently announced they would no longer voice mixed race characters on Netflix's Big Mouth and Apple's Central Park.
Is it different? So the thing about Cleveland is if you hear his voice in your head, it doesn't sound like he's doing a black man. He sounds kind of unique in and of himself. You know what I'm saying? Like most people, when they do a black voice, do a black voice. Cleveland doesn't sound like a black voice to me. It sounds like a different kind of voice. I don't know. Like I feel like you might be able to get a cup spared if you're. I mean, not now, but he was probably willing. We've been pretty woke for a while now. This has been going on for 20 years. I think it's because he did a very unique and different voice that wasn't a quintessential black voice. But either way, what do they do now? They get a black person to do Cleveland's voice that was created by the other guy that didn't sound like a black voice?
I think so.
Oh, what about
recast? Yeah.
And his
sound alike.
Well, at least in the episodes that I did of Family Guy, Cleveland's wife wasn't played by a black woman either. I think it sounded like Alex Borstein or something. Who played Cleveland's wife? Like in the episode, some of the episodes I did or some that I've seen, didn't seem like there was a white. And then in like Bob's Burgers, there's a guy who does a woman's voice. Shouldn't a woman be doing that voice?
Kristen Schaal is the only female actor on that whole show. Tina, the sister, is played by a man. The mom is a man. Everyone's a male except for Kristen Schaal, who plays the little sister.
Well, shouldn't we recast that as well? I mean, shouldn't women be getting those jobs?
Bart Simpson is a woman.
Well, turnabout is fair play. Alex Borstein played Loretta Brown. Yeah, Alex Borstein, a Jew, played one of yours, played his wife. So she needs to be cast out as well.
In the article, I forgot about that. It's the Haku vodka. She said she stopped playing that role because it really hurt her voice, like that.
Yeah, she was like,
actual timbre.
like she was like
yeah,
really
that was
gravelly.
too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Does this mean that I have to stop doing impressions of someone I love and admire and have respected for 2 decades, Robin Quivers?
Interesting. Interesting. Yeah.
I don't know. Am I not supposed to do that?
Let's ask Robin what she thinks.
Yeah, Robin.
Look, I think it's very flattering. I know Dr. Drew thinks I'm a narcissist in his foolproof test. But I think it's very flattering. If I am a narcissist, I will say that this is flattering. It's something that I respect. I think she does a great job. And I say, girl, you just keep doing what you're doing. And one day I'd love to have you on the show.
Well, let's see if I can take a turn for the surreal. Robin Quivers.
Yes, Adam.
You know, my news gal, Gina Grad, does a great impression of you. Is that okay?
Oh, interesting. You know, not a lot of people do Robin Quivers. Not that I've heard. Is it very good?
It's spot on. And I don't know if you guys know each other, but I'd say if you got to know each other, you would be bosom buddies.
Oh, is she a buxom gal?
She's very buxom, yes. And you know, she can not only sound like you, but probably look like you in a bathing suit.
Well, you know, I've had a nip here and a tuck there. So if that's ever something she wants to talk to me about, I am ready to have that conversation with her.
All right, Gene, I'm finding this problematic now. I'm sorry we ever did this. Yeah.
This really bums me out because she's my favorite. My favorite.
The problem...
I've loved her since I was a kid.
The problem with all the symbolism is... It's symbolic. You know what I mean? Like, again, what if we approach...
Indeed.
What if... Yeah, it's got the word symbolic in it. But I mean, like, what if... I don't know. What if dentistry worked this way? Where, like, you had abscess or you had a thing and they're like, I want to talk about the waiting room and the office and your attitude and all the magazines are like, I want to get to everything other than your tooth. And my thing is, as a pragmatic person... This is all fine, doesn't really hurt, but as Bill Maher was saying, kind of gets your eye off the prize here a little bit. Yeah,
I was intrigued. I went down a rabbit hole. 3 of my favorite Simpsons characters, Dr. Hibbert, Carl, and the Judge, all black, voiced by white actors.
Dr. Hibbert?
So it's only both of those, Hibbert and the Judge, voiced by Harry Shearer. The other one, Carl, Hank Azaria.
Are they recasting them, or are they?
They haven't said anything about those, but it's only a matter of time, right?
Yeah. Okay. And the thing that makes The Simpsons interesting is you have a white guy doing a black guy, but in terms of like Carl, he's not doing a black guy's voice at all, which is why they're who they are. All right.
Well, and kind of the Judge and Dr. Hibbert. I mean, I thought that Dr. Hibbert is who he is because it was kind of a takeoff on Bill Cosby, but he doesn't, I mean, they don't sound any affected way.
No.
Okay, well, we'll see.
He wears all the sweaters, the Cosby.
That's right. So we have some hot breaking up to the minute Gone with the Wind news. I don't know what year it is all of a sudden, but the big story you remember is that was being pulled from HBO. Well, everybody just clutched the pearls and now it is back because so many of us were watching it, I guess.
Yes.
So it has returned to HBO Max with a new introduction. We may have talked about this type of thing, that there will probably be more of this, that talks about the movie's depiction of history and racism after it was pulled from the streaming service. So in a 4.5-minute video introduction, Jacqueline Stewart, she's a Black host on American Movie Classics. She begins by welcoming viewers, talking about the movie's history and its undeniable cultural significance. And so you'll just get kind of a little, a spiel about the history of that time period. It was the 1939 Best Picture Oscar-winning movie. We talked about that. And screenwriter and novelist John Ridley wrote an op-ed in the LA Times that the streaming service should remove Gone with the Wind. And that was really sort of the catalyst for this campaign, but it is back.
Well, listen, first off, it is what it is. we can all see it for what it is. It's like when they put the warnings on for historical smoking. Like, yeah, it's a World War II film, and the guys are smoking Chesterfields in a fucking foxhole. What are we doing here, people? Look, here's the thing about these kind of portrayals or these depictions. You're supposed to see it, and then you're supposed to go, oh, man, I can't believe how bad we were back then. Like, look, at some point, he slaps Scarlett and, like, tells her to get hold of herself. Like, I mean, by the way, you want to talk about super creepy. Is it Rhett Butler? See that the lead character? Rhett Butler, like, he's getting into some strong-armed rape stuff over there. Like, he's throwing her around, he's grabbing her and telling. There's like a scene where she's like, he's drinking and she like comes into the room and he's dressing her down. Like, he's physically and verbally abusive, and at some point he like grabs her and goes, "We're going upstairs. I'll make a woman of you," or something, and like basically rapes her in the master bedroom. I'm saying that's all over every movie that's ever been made. Just like there's movies with cops and robbers. Like, you just go, "I don't want to be that," or "Don't do that," but you see it and then go, "That's who we were. Let's not be that again." But you don't erase it. Mm-hmm. I don't get how that helps. If you can find Max Zapata, there's this scene where he's like sitting in a study drinking, kind of like what Dan's doing right now. You better tell your girlfriend to clear out. So he's just sitting there like drinking alone, doing that move where you pour it and then you slam the glass down, then you pour it right out of the bottle again and slam it out. And she like comes into the room and he's like, he's in full blown douche mode. But anyway, all right. So
can I one quick point there to what you were saying, Adam? I watched this movie recently called The River of No Return from the 1950s with Marilyn Monroe and Robert Mitchum.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And it's a Western. And there was a scene, and to speak to your point about how aren't people able to have some context and go, this is the way it was. It doesn't offend me, but it's crazy to think it was that way, because there's a scene where exactly what you're talking about in Gone with the Wind, where, he grabs her and he's like, no, you're going to, and she's like, leave me alone. And smacks him, and he's like, you want this? And she's like, no, I don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. And then he like starts kissing her. She's like, no. And then next thing you know, and I'm going, wow, like that's not going to happen now. But I'm able to realize that the social mores of 70 years ago are different than they are now. And I don't know. It's.
Look no further than Baby It's Cold Outside. Everybody wanted that song taken off the radio until some historians piped up and said, this was the flirtatious dance of the time. A woman was not allowed to seem forward and to seem willing. She had to say, I have to go, so that the man would beg her to stay. That's a relationship that we don't relate to anymore. So we don't really have the right historical lens. We see it now and we say that's horrible, get rid of it. But I certainly didn't have an understanding of that culture of that time. Yeah. You mentioned the master bedroom, and I'm so glad you did. Oh, Adam, yeah. Because here we have the clip.
Do we have him? I don't. Sitting and drinking alone. This, by the way, this is when acting was acting, baby.
He was sitting drinking alone, but we fast forward to the part where he sees.
Okay.
He sees it.
That's you in an hour and a half.
That's right. And Lynette.
Yes, I suppose I am. Even though I know you've been faithful to me all along. How do I know? Because I know Ashley Wilkes and his honorable breed. They're gentlemen. That's more than I can say for you or for me. We're not gentlemen, and we have no honor, have we?
He's taking her up for raping.
It's not that easy, Scarlett.
Forcing a kiss on her.
Kiss on her.
Man knows
Turn me out while you chase Ashley Wilkes, while you dreamed of Ashley Wilkes. This is one night you're not turning me out.
Oh no. Taking her upstairs and rape her. Yeah.
There's two at a time.
Well, that looks like rape to me. He's been drinking. He was the scene before. He's just sitting alone in a study drinking. And now she's come down and he's bringing her upstairs to the master bedroom for a raping. I find that problematic.
Incredibly.
Yeah. Imagine being drunk and carrying someone up carpeted stairs wearing boots, smooth-soled boots. That in of itself is dangerous enough. They may not even survive to be raped. Do you know what I mean?
You had the rape on top of that. You're asking for trouble.
Yes. He's wearing patent leather boots with a buckle on him. He's shit-faced on vermouth, and now he's carrying her up these very padded steps. I think it should be removed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
this podcaster doesn't abide.
Well, he's raping her, right? I mean, he basically was boozing and he just forced a kiss on her and told her she's going upstairs to have sex.
One more night, you're not going to turn me down.
One night, you're not turning me down.
That's right.
Jesus.
Wow.
No, I mean, but
maybe we do need that full disclosure at the beginning.
Now, you guys ask me any movie, I'll tell you the rape scene. That's how I work. I'm an encyclopedia of rape. I don't know about stats or scores or who was in it or what year it was made or anything, but I do know the rape scene.
Shawshank Redemption.
Didn't they say in Last Tango in Paris that he actually didn't the actress come out later and say that he actually raped her while they were making the movie?
I don't
He
know.
made her have sex making the movie. Brando had who's the director? Bertolucci, I think, did that one, but said, they had actual sex when they were making the movie. And then many years later, she came out and said they basically told her to do it.
That was an insane movie for its time, and a lot of nudity back in the day when there wasn't a lot of nudity around. And so even if it was a shitty art house film, it had titties and ass in it, and you just watched that movie. Yeah, Last Tango in Paris. It was a big movie.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, probably. But so what I'm saying is guys used to treat their wives that way back then. And there were slaves and there were all sorts of horrible things back then. But that's why they have it depicted in the movie about back then. If he said, hey, sweetie pea, you need a neck rub? You were right. I went vegan a week ago and I've never felt better about myself. Then we'd go, hey, that's probably not a clear depiction of that time. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That being said, Django, the first half is very hard to watch. Second half, cathartic as fuck, and everybody loves that movie.
I agree.
What about shows? What about modern shows that show things the way they were back then? Is that like Mad Men, for instance? Okay. Rampant sexism, all of that's depicted in a modern show or fairly modern show that shows all of that. Is that a show that's going to be revisited years from now? And they're going to be like, we got to take that off now because it's showing these.
Yeah, we will get to everything. They will get to everything. All right. What else you got, Gina?
Well, we've got to talk about the master bathroom because we talked about it on this show long ago, and it is coming to fruition. That term is officially canceled when it comes to describing bedrooms and bathrooms, at least in Houston. If you're searching for a home there, this is according to TMZ. The Houston Association of Realtors is no longer using the word master to hype the bedrooms and all this stuff. They are calling it the primary bathroom and the primary bedroom. The change, by the way, happened earlier this month, very quietly, after several members demanded a review of the language. And TMZ says the other masters are already on the way out. The Court of Master Sommeliers, which I don't think we hear too often. Maybe Brian does. They are no longer.
Dan knows.
Yeah, of course.
A guy just came out the other day. One of the Master Sommeliers, he resigned, but that was more about inclusivity. And I don't. There aren't.
Oh, I'm sorry, Dan. I was only going to say, like, in that context, it's like saying you're a master carpenter or you're a master, a chess master.
You have your master's degree.
You've mastered this thing. That gets into my.
I don't think he resigned. I don't think he resigned because of the term master. I think he resigned because of the there's not a lot of inclusivity in that group in the Court of Master Sommeliers, and
I hear you. I was commenting on what Gina was describing, which is one of the things I hate. I've mentioned on the show before. Not racist things that remind you of racist things. Like supportive master or a chess master. It's like he's not a slave owner. He's master of the art of chess.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, there is, something like master bedroom. Okay, if the master of the house lived there and it was a plantation and that's why they call it the master bedroom, then you can draw a line. It's still insignificant. It's not going to fix anything, but you can draw a line from there to there. Master carpenter, no. The Masters, probably the golf tournament. I don't think
the master. Are you a masturbator or aren't you?
I was going to say, when I get off this Zoom, am I primary baiting now later? What's going on?
But there is master and slave cylinders and master and slave in the computer world. And that is kind of this person is telling this thing is telling that thing what to do.
Hey, what about the BDSM community? A lot of that, the dom and
problematic.
That's right. Subdom. Yeah. Something to think about.
Diving into that later.
Well, you please let us know.
Let's go with a little more Crucian rum. Getting ready. Yeah.
Some bad news for Dan and his buddies. If you haven't already heard as we record this, Governor Gavin Newsom has ordered all bars closed in 7 counties. That includes ours, Los Angeles County, and recommended that 8 other counties close their nightlife as well on Sunday due to a rise in the spread of coronavirus. The state's news release says, quote, bars are social environments where groups of people mix. In these environments, alcohol consumption reduces inhibition and impairs judgment, leading to reduced compliance with recommended core personal protective measures. Basically, you get drunk and you get real close to people. Apparently.
I went out to eat last night and they modified the rules. You had to wear the mask to walk across the restaurant. But now your server is like 6 feet away from your table. Oh. And then you put the mask on and then they can come closer. But then there's this weird dance where they stand about 4 feet away and just lean over and hand you stuff. It doesn't seem very scientific. It's like they're technically doing a lot of that, but it's not doesn't seem that practical. But they've modified it a little bit.
Yeah. And speaking of that, apparently this does not include places that serve food. So this is specifically for bars and clubs.
Oh.
I was in Temecula last night and we went to this, little like kind of, I guess you could say high-ish and little kind of fun restaurant called the Cowgirl Saloon. And Temecula is pretty fast and loose with the mask wearing. Mm-hmm. And they're not treating it like LA County does. And all the waitresses wore masks, but everyone at the table had, it's like it just didn't apply down there.
Well,
so
I'm in Venice. I'm in Venice, Gina, and so I went to a place on a couple of nights ago called Hatchet Hall, which had a whole outdoor. They converted their parking lot into a restaurant, and they've done a really great job. They got tables, and they're spacing it out. Then later, I had some friends say they wanted me to meet them at another place. I won't name the bar, but it's on Lincoln Boulevard in Venice. And I got there and I looked in and I turned to my friend and I said, the bars will be shut down in Los Angeles within the next week. Because I looked in there and there were 300 people. I don't think I saw 5 masks among them. It's a very young, this bar caters to a young crowd. And I looked at it and I thought, I'd probably be doing the same thing too if I was in my 20s. But I said to this was on Friday, I said, we're closing down.
No, it's Dan Nostradamus.
Real quick, because when Florida closes down and Texas closes down, California's closing down. Yeah.
You were in the mood for turtle racing?
Oh, I love that place.
I do. Did I guess the place right? Yeah.
Don't point at the turtles.
Yeah, that's the spot I'm talking about.
All right. What else you got, Gina?
Well, in terms of the coronavirus and the stimulus checks, I don't think it does sound like an Onion article, but it is not. And I don't think we're terribly surprised. MSNBC reports that more than 1 million Americans who have died have received stimulus payments, COVID-19 stimulus payments, totaling $1.4 billion, according to a government watchdog group. The findings part of a sweeping review of the federal government's response to the COVID-19 pandemic by the Government Accountability Office, which is an independent, nonpartisan congressional agency. Congress passed this massive $2 trillion stimulus package called the CARES Act in March to soften the economic blow for everybody, or a lot of people. But it seems a lot of that ended up going to people who are no longer among the living. So that was about $1.5 billion went to dead people by accident.
Many of those folks are going to vote in our next election. I think. If you watch Fox,
Chicago.
you will find out that many will vote. Now, here's my whole thing. I tell people all the time, like when they go, don't you want the system to fix the system or the broken schools or the system? Like these people need more resources. I'm like, I think the government are kind of fuck ups. I think one thing you should glean from the last 4 months of our existence is the government fucks up a lot. Like they're not that good at things, and they're not that good at taking care of their citizens. They do, maybe they do okay with the military, and they do okay with the freeway overpasses and things like that. I mean,
do great with taxes.
They're always Johnny on the spot. Parking tickets, wildly efficient. Like they do good things. They're good at collecting money, like meter maids and taxes, and then they're good at spending money, like big industrial military complex kind of stuff. Like they seem to do okay. They're not that good at the inner city schools and the smaller things.
No.
And
the customer service stuff.
Right. And so when people are more than ever like marching and they want change and they want to be counted and they want this and they want that, I'm like, I wouldn't count on the government changing your life that much, because again, they just gave 1 million dead people checks, and the list goes on and on. My feeling is now this is a great, we go, the government, they fucked up this whole COVID thing, and they fucked up the reimbursement thing, and they fucked this up, and everything's a systemic racism. They invented racism, or at least they kept it going. My thing is like, maybe they're not that good at what they do. I mean, both sides. Maybe Trump's not that good at what he does, and maybe Nancy Pelosi's not that good at what she does. My thing is get your own shit together. Get your family together. Get trained. You want protection? Go fucking take a jiu-jitsu class, or go get licensed and have a gun and use it at the range. I mean, it's like, I don't know about the cops. I don't know about the government. I don't know about these people helping you or your family. They're not going to. At best, they're going to do is sort of, put a Band-Aid on whatever wounds you have. They're just not there. They're not going to make, you can't flourish with the government. You can be maintained by the government. It's like, oh, look at all this housing and look at all these food stamps and these welfares, this cheap this and this government cheese. Yeah, it's the least amount someone can live off of. That's what they're going to do. So if you'd like to flourish, if you're thinking about flourishing versus existing, you may want to get away from the government. You may want to start thinking about your own business or your own ideas or your own plans for a family or community, and maybe stop thinking about what the government's going to do for you, because what I've learned is the government is not good at doing things for people right and left. So why don't you just treat your own little house like it's the White House, and treat your not master bedroom, your primary bedroom like it's the Oval Office, and take care of your own fucking business. What this thing's like, we do this thing, it's like, why is the government doing more of this? And then we're disappointed and wounded, like they haven't done enough. I've looked around. I've been around long enough. Look, the beginning of my beloved TV show, Good Times. You watch an episode of Good Times, like, oh, we live in this shitty project and everything sucks and welfare and food stamps. Like, that's from the 70s. Okay, now you go look at how much of the projects change. How much is the low-income housing change? What has the government done for whatever J.J. Walker, J.J. Dynamite Walker, all those guys, that whole Good Times family? Good Times hit the air in like 1975, probably, maybe 76. All right, it's been 40 years or 45 years. When did Good Times come out? And would that family be any different today living in the south side of Chicago? Maybe they'd be dead because they would have gotten shot because now they've recalled the police. 1974. So that shit is 46 years old, and that family be the exact same fucking shape they are right now, except for one of the brothers would have been shot and he'd be dead by now. So what else do you want the government to do? You really? That's it? I'm going to count on the government. I'm going to blame them. I'm going to tell them they need to do more. I want accountability. Good fucking luck. Life fucking travels fast. It's fucking more than half over for me. Think I ever worry about what the fucking government's going to do for me? No.
Same.
Go out and make some hay while the goddamn sun shines.
Sounds like somebody needs some forged gin.
Yeah, I do. Goddamn.
Yeah. Can I say one thing as the booze guy? I'm thinking these checks could be the government's way of like pouring some out for their homies. Yeah, you pour some out for your dead homies, man.
That's poetic, Dan.
They were good times with Chicago projects, right?
Yeah, like Cabrini Green.
Well, I'll try to figure it out. All right, Gina, let's bring it home.
You got it. I'm Gina Grad, and that's the news.
Gina Grad. That was the news with Gina Grad.
I'm going to be in Tempe Improv earning some non-government money at Tempe, Arizona, coming up July 3rd and 4th. We're going to do live shows there and stand-up shows there. So both Dallas, Texas, coming up end of July at Addison. So I'm going to all the
any more
hot spots.
Any more hot spots you want to hit?
I'm going to be in Milan, Italy.
Probably the Mayo Clinic.
Yeah. So I'm traveling and I'm hitting the hot spots and heating them up. All right. You can get my book, I'm Your Emotional Sport Animal. It's up for order now. They're going to replenish soon enough on Amazon. Dan Dunn, what we're drinking with Dan Dunn. We love Dan Dunn. And the Twitter, the Imbiber, is well. Thanks, y'all. And until next time, Adam Carolla for Gina and Brian and Dan Dunn saying mahalo.